Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. It was done using Loren Sherman script, which uses a combination of dots and lines on these 4 different stems to make our consonants. And vowels are quite a bit trickier. They're these smaller circles and they have different positions depending upon what vowel they are and if they're attached on one of these 4 consonant stems. So this is a nifty diagram that shows all possible combinations of consonant and vowel teams. So we look at this U thing here. This is a U by itself just on the line of the word circle. Then we have a deep divot, which is our first stem, or a B with no modifiers, U. And then we have a shallow circle inside the word circle, which is this stem here, which with no modifiers is a J. So this is a J-U character here. And then we have a shallow divot, which is a 50% or less completed circle. And that with no modifiers is a T with a U. And then last but not least, we have a circle on the line of the word circle, which with no modifiers is a TH, so this is a THU. So that's the same for all of the other things, and if you were to read them like a word at the bottom counterclockwise, you read words from bottom counterclockwise, so this as a word would be like oo, boo, ju, tu, thu. Yeah. So, anyway, here we have this design, and I also apologize about the quality of my voice. I can sort of talk again today. Yesterday I couldn't talk at all, so I'm sorry for the delay on getting these to you and translated and explained how they are read. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at this design. So the setup of this design is linear, and linear works because if you imagine an infinitely large circle, if you were to start at the bottom of that infinitely large circle and go counterclockwise, you'd simply be going left to right, which is why we start at the left at a linear design like this. And there's also a couple chunks in this sentence chunks. So this doesn't have a sentence circle around it, so you just start at the left one and go kind of counterclockwise or left to right on it for these 3. But this is in a whole sentence circle, so this thick line is the sentence circle. So you'd read bottom counterclockwise of this sentence, and you'd read the sentences in order from left to right or bottom counterclockwise. So you'd read this chunk, which is not in a sentence circle, so you read it left to right. Then this chunk, which is in a sentence circle, so you read it bottom counterclockwise. This chunk, which is in a sentence circle, so bottom counterclockwise. And then this, which is not in a sentence circle, left to right. So here we have our first word, this little guy here. And there's only one letter in this word, and it's a small circle, so it's a vowel. And it has a line going towards the middle. And the vowel lines, they can be curved and they can be straight. It doesn't matter so long as if they are going towards the center of the word circle. So like this is an I. And this is an I because it's going towards the middle. But a U is going outwards. So this is the word I. And then here we have our next word. Here's the bottom of the word circle. We have a circle inside the word circle, so we're in this row. And there's definitely these 2 dots. And this 3rd dot is closest to this stem, so it goes with this stem as well. So 3 dots here makes that an L here. And then we have an O, kind of like a beat on a string on that L. So like that. And I tend to erase the line behind the vowels just to make things a bit cleaner and a bit less busy. Otherwise, they look filled in kind of like dots if there was a line going through this. So anyway, L-O, continuing around here, we have a shallow divot with 1 line, shallow divot, 1 line, so that's a V. And then this is a vowel because it's small, and it's on the line of the word circle. So this is like the word circle line, and E's are on it with no line. So this is an E. So L-O-V-E is our next word. Here's our next word. And even though there's nothing on the bottom, if we follow that bottom counterclockwise rule, this is the first thing we hit. And this is a circle on the line of the word circle with 2 dots, so that is a Y. Then we have an O inside the word circle, so like this, and then a U with a line going outwards. So U is our next word. And then we have this little sentence chunk thing. So here's the bottom of the sentence. So we read this word first, and bottom of this word circle's here. Here's our first letter. That is a T, because it's a shallow divot, no modifiers. Another O, just like that O. So 2, and then we have a shallow divot, a circle on the line of the word circle. So we're in this row, and there is no modifiers on it, so that's a TH. And this is a prime example of why I like to erase behind the vowels, but not behind the TH stems. So this shows that they're different, and it's not like a double E, even though this TH is kind of small. So THE is our next word. So then we have this word, bottom of the word circle. Here's our first stem. It is a circle inside the word circle with 1, 2, 3 lines on it. So this is an M. Continuing on, 2 O's, 1, 2, so OO. And then we have this circle inside the word circle, except this line passes clean through it here and ends here. So it only counts once. So this one line goes clean through it here, so it only counts there. So that is an N. So moon. Here's our next word, and here's the little A, which is closer to this word circle, so it belongs here, not anywhere else. So A, continuing around. Here we have something kind of tricky. I do for and, because and is actually a tricky word to make look nice and be compact. I did it for this and this and this and, where I overlap the letter stems. So this does look kind of like an O, like if this was a and then a D-O. Except O's don't have any lines on this, and this has a line on it, so it doesn't count. And again, with that erasing behind the vowels, this is another hint that this is an O. This isn't an O, and is in fact an N. Plus, it's pretty big. It's too big to be a vowel, kind of. The vowels can get kind of big, like this is a pretty big A. But A, N with one line, D with three dots, and here we have a deep divot, so we're in this row, and there's no modifier, so this is just a B. And then we have this little circle, which is closer to this word circle. It's actually touching as opposed to these guys. So this A goes here, so B, A. And then we have a double line. And a double line is a double letter. And since the lines are the same thickness, it's the same letter twice. So the same letter has two dots and a circle inside the word circle, so that's a double K. And that's how you'd spell back, because the C in the word back goes K. So you'd replace that with a K. You only use this letter C if it's in a proper noun or an acronym or something like that. So anyway, B-A-double-K is back. So to the moon and back. And then we have this sentence here. Here we have another T-O. So this is just like this too, except it's just a bit wider, right? More crescenty. So to. This word is tricky because I put some like fancy stuff in here. But this is all just lines. This like little hexagon and semicircle doesn't mean anything other than fancy lines. So here we have our bottom of the word circle. It's a little circle, so that's a vowel. It's got a line going towards the middle, so that's an I. Continue around. Here we have a circle inside the word circle, and all this stuff passes through it except for this one line. So this one line makes that an N. And then we have a deep divot with one. This thin line ends on it. This thick line ends on it, and this thin line ends on it. So that is an F. So I-N-F. And then we have another tricky little I here. So it's hard to tell if this is going inwards or outwards, but one way I like to double check my I's and U's is if I imagine a line going the opposite direction. A line going this way would definitely look like a U, so I guess this definitely looks like an I. So anyway, I. And then we have another N done just like this N, except with a curvy line instead of a straight line. So I, N, and then we have another I, this little I line going towards the middle, just like this I. And then we have the shallow divot with no modifiers, so that's a T, and then 1, 2 dots on the Y, just like that Y. So infinity, and we have this word, bottom of it, A, and then we have an N line going anywhere as long as it's done just like this and then a D, 3 dots, and then we have a B, continuing around. This A is part of that and, so B, E, and then another Y, O, so 2 dots on the Y with an O on it, then another N, and then 1, 2, 3 dots on that D, just like this D. So beyond, so to infinity and beyond, and then we have this deep divot with 1, 2, 3 lines on it, so F, with an O on it, just like all of my other little bead on a string O's. So F-O. And we have a shallow divot with 3 dots, which is an R, with an E hanging out closer, well, on the line of the word circle. So on these shallow divot stems, the E's and A's are kind of tricky, but an A is outside the word circle, and an E is on the line or inside the word circle. So R-E, then we have a shallow divot V, 1 line on it, just like this V. And then we have an E on the line of the word circle, just like this E. And then we have 1, 2, 3 dots on this shallow divot, which is an R, and these lines all pass through it. They don't end on it, so they don't count. So forever, then another A and D. We have an A outside the word circle. And even though, so if you have, sorry, I'm going to cough real quick. Okay, so A is our first letter because it's right at the bottom. And this is an L, and you read it next because the L is actually more in line right here. So the A comes before the L. Even though if a vowel and consonant are together, you read the consonant first and then the vowel, but this one's a little bit before, so you read that one first. So anyway, here we have our L, 1, 2, 3 dots on a circle inside the word circle. Then we have this shallow divot with this little line, which ends here and here. So because it ends on it twice, it counts twice, so that would be a 2-line shallow divot, which is a W. Then an A outside the word circle, so here we have that word circle line, if we were to continue through, and this A is outside it, so unlike this R with it inside it, the E is inside the R, but the A is outside the W. So W-A, and then 1, 2 dots on the Y, and then here's a shall I do it with 1, 2, 3 lines. So that is an S. So ALWAYS, always. So yeah, I love you to the moon and back, to infinity and beyond, forever and always. So yeah, that's that design. I'm really happy with it. I like it sort of from small to big to small again, and the balance of it. I think it's pretty nice. Bye.